Hi guys, last episode I had a look at archaius, the basis of archaius, just like a hello world of composite configs, loading them from the class path, loading them externally, and sorting out subscribers for config changes and that. If you haven't checked it out, check it out now. We're going to move on to cascading strategies today. Last episode we only looked at loading one property file externally and one property file from the class path, but what if we have more? If your microservice is in production in AWS, for example, you're likely going to have a production server group, you're likely going to have a pre-prod server group, a test server group, and all those properties are going to be different. Okay, so we need to find a way of pointing it to the correct properties file based on the server group that you're running in, and we can do that quite simply with a cascade strategy, and we're going to look at that right now. I've got some free properties files here on the class path, one from before, app.properties, with a feature flag and feature description, and then I got an app.prod.properties, and app.prod eus1.properties. So I need archaius to actually load all of those properties and not do it in kind of a hacky way. So we're going to just have a look at ConcatCascadeStrategy right now. ConcatCascadeStrategy .from, and given a list of parameters, generate all combinations by successively concatenating each additional parameter on the end. So here I've got EUS1. I'm just hard coding them at the moment, and then I want to generate, and our property config is called just app. We do string interpolator, because I've just hard coding them. We don't really need the interpolator or a lookup, but you're not going to want to hard code these. You're going to want like an interpolated string, like environment, and we have to understand how to interpolate that string. And for that we're going to use the commons string interpolator. And the lookup we can just have as null right now, because we're not looking up any interpolated string or anything, we're just hard coding them, so we can leave it as null. And then we'll just print it out. Dot out, print line. If we run that, and there we go, an app.prod eus1. Okay. But as I said, you're not going to want to hard code these. You're going to want to pass in, say, an environment and a region. And your orchestration tool, whatever you use, Kubernetes, Mesos Marathon, Docker Swarm, whatever you're using, when you're starting your Java service, you can put these through as environment properties. So let's just do that now. Let's emulate that here. Cascade app, I might have already done it. Yeah, I've got env equals prod and region equals EUS1. Okay, but I'm getting those from our environment properties, and archaius doesn't know where to get those from at the moment. So we need to look that up. So we're going to use the config string lookup dot from, and we're going to look up our system config dot instance. Okay, so if we run that again, cascade app.prod eus1. Yeah, there we go, simply put. Now we could also put this in environment variables as well. So if we do the run configuration, let's have a new environment variable, say env, and that's going to be prod, and another one region EU West 1. Apply that. Okay, same again, but instead of looking through the system config, we're going to look at the environment config. Import that, run again, and oh yeah, capital instead. I put them in caps. My apologies. And there we go, all working. Okay, so let's apply this to our previous example. First, I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to comment out the external properties because at the moment we're just going to load from the class path. Okay, and with this builder, with this default config loader, we're going to say with default cascading strategy, and we're going to use the concat again, cascade strategy dot from end from region with default a string interpolator we need. There we go. Commons str interpolator. Actually, I'm not even sure we need that. That might just be default. Is there an interpolator? Yeah, common string interpolator is the default anyway, so we don't actually need it. So we'll just delete that. But we do need a lookup. A string lookup. String lookup. We can either give it a lookup or a config. So let's just give it the config. System config dot instance. And then when we run that, hopefully what we'll see here, we haven't got anything there. We got a prod description there, and we got a class path description there. So this prod.properties will override this class app.properties, and this EUS1.properties will override the prod.properties. But it's also going to merge them together. So this feature flag, even though it doesn't belong, even though it's not in prod or prod EUS1, it's still in app.properties, so it'll still be output when we print it. So what we're expecting to see is prod description. Okay, if I run this, here we go, prod description. And if I change this feature description equals region description. And again, here we go, region description. Simple. Simple, but what if I want to do it for external config? That's a little bit trickier. I haven't yet, I might be wrong, but looking at the source code for Archaius, I haven't found anything as simple as this, as these simple builders. As far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, please do comment, you kind of have to do it yourself. So let's just do that now. Okay, first I'm gonna save this, because I'm going to need it. I'm just going to put it up here, just for reference, and we're going to do the same cascade strategy right in this URL config reader. If you see the constructor does accept an array of strings, so our cascade strategy will output an array of strings. So let's just, actually it won't output an array of, actually yes it does, it outputs a list, I believe. The generate outputs a list. But this accepts an array, so we'll have to convert that list to an array, but well, that's simple enough. So let's try this now. Right, concat cascade strategy dot from, again, from environment, and prod. Oop, not prod, region. Okay. Am I going to do a generate again? And what did I call them? If I go here, see, I've already been fiddling with it. We call it config. So not app, as on the class path, it's called config. Okay, so config here, interpolator, same again. We do actually need to define the interpolator here. Interpolator dot instance, and a lookup. We need a config str lookup dot from. system config dot instance. Okay, so now that generate outputs a list, I believe. Yeah, a list of strings. So what we need to do now is convert that list of strings to an array, and we need to concatenate our, we need to put our path right on the front. Okay, so first let's stream it, because we're using Java 8 here. Stream dot, what have I done here? Config string, look at config. Oh, it's a config. Whoop. It's a string. Config. Okay. Dot stream. Dot. We're going to map file name, or rather config name, and we're going to put this in front of each config. Plus config name, and that's that. And now we need to convert it to an array. To array, string, new. Simples. Okay, let's just get rid of the class path config. Actually, we can just keep it in. Doesn't matter. Let's see what's in here first. Config properties, we got externally. External config normal. And for production, we're going to have prod feature description. Cool. And for this region, we're going to have what we're going to have. Region description for external. Fine. That's fine by me. So, much like with the class path properties, our external properties are going to override our class path properties. So we're not expecting to see anything generated from here. But much like our class path properties, our region will override our config prod region. Prod EOS1 properties will override our prod properties, and that'll override this config properties. Okay, so if you run it, if all went well. Ooh, what we got? Right. Oh, right. I need to put a dot properties on the end. Okay, that's another thing you have to do kind of yourself with external properties, is you have to concatenate your own dot properties, but with the default config loader that looks at the class path, you don't have to do that. It just automatically assumes. So, does it exist? I'm not too sure. As from what I can see from the source code, it doesn't seem to exist. But there we go. It's not a big deal doing it yourself, even though it does look kind of hacky. So let's run that again. Okay, there we go. Prod feature description, which is that right? This one is the one we should be looking at. Region description. Oh, I've commented it out. There we go. Uncomment it. And the next time it comes up, there we go. Region description for external. Okay, let's delete it again. And it falls back to our prod description. There we go, prod feature description as written in here. There we go, prod feature description. And if we delete that, it'll default back to our config.properties, which is external config normal. There. and if we get rid of that, it'll default to our class path. The class path properties. Okay, region description from class path properties. Here we go. Region description. And there we go. And that's cascading strategies. Thanks for watching.